Scary Alvarez is back. After Christmas, before New Year's, that magical week where you may have to work, but you're not really working. Am I right? But anyway, I got a special one today, a year-end fun New Year's episode of the Scary Alvarez podcast. And this one is Scary's New Year's resolutions for a number of Wisconsin sports programs. It's going to be fun. Throw me a like and a subscription if you haven't already. I'd love to hear your comments down in the comment section. You muttering to yourself and watching the screen may be satisfying personally, but I do not hear it or see it. So throw it down there, guys. Anyway, let's get right to it. I'm icily efficient like that. Let's start with men's basketball. The resolution is chemistry. Anyone who follows this program knows how bullish on the Wisconsin men's hoops team I was coming into the season. And I've not shied away from the fact that I think this team has a considerable amount of talent on the roster, especially offensive talent. But as we've seen in 4 vexing losses in the 4 toughest games they played so far, where they really haven't looked very good in any of them against tough opponents, something just has been off with the chemistry. I don't need to get into the DNA of exactly what the issue is, but obviously there have been defensive deficiencies that are pretty obvious to anyone, but they just don't look quite comfortable yet as a team, unless they can just simply out-talent a team, as they've done in all their wins. So my New Year's resolution, if I'm Greg Garden and his Badgers, is find that chemistry. Make the pieces work together. But that's it for hoops, for men's. We'll get to women's in a minute. Women's hockey. Their New Year's resolution is to stay locked in. The Wisconsin women's hockey team is, I don't think it's even particularly close, the most dominant NCAA sports team going right now. In that there is what I feel like pretty considerable gap between the Badgers and the field. Ohio State's probably the closest team to the Badgers, and Ohio State just got boat raced by the Badgers in Columbus before the break. This Badger team is they're a juggernaut. Mark Johnson is just doing Mark Johnson things. So when you have a team that's dominant like that, it's sometimes hard to stay completely focused. When you're so good, maybe you don't practice quite as hard. Maybe you take a couple shifts off because things are coming too easy. I'm not saying the Badgers are prone to that more than any other team. I'm just saying that they need to do that. And the way to do so is staying locked in. Simple as that. Stay locked in. There are very few things in major college sports that are certainties. And I feel like the Wisconsin women's hockey team winning another NCAA tournament is as close as you are going to come. It is not guaranteed, but this team is something special. Let's move on to another highly successful women's program, and that's volleyball. Kelly Shuffield's gang. I had a podcast recently which detailed my exhilarating trip to Austin, Texas for the regional finals, which sent them to another Final Four. And as many of you know, Wisconsin dropped a difficult Final Four match in 5 sets to the Kentucky Wildcats, who were seeded higher, but I don't think they were a better squad. I feel like that was Wisconsin's match, and they just let it slip away. Not just because they're up 2-1, but they just couldn't close it out. So it may seem cliche, but I feel like the New Year's resolution is learning from a tough loss and doing it differently next time. Seems easier said than done. But that team was just so good and playing so incredibly well and was being coached so well. It had all the vibes. it was a shocking loss to me. I was very surprised. Now, who's to say A&M was a team of destiny and maybe they would have beaten anyone in that championship? But in that Kentucky game, they let it get away. And I feel like with a lot of new personnel coming for next season, which will start this spring, uh, Wisconsin needs to remember why this happened and flip a switch to not let it happen again, whatever that is. And Sheffield's the guy to do it. Men's hockey. Men's hockey, men's hockey. Mike Hastings, and he was getting a lot of heat in the offseason for a really, really poor 13-23 season last year after a really good first season with the Badgers. This team has been incredible. They have a very good argument they should be ranked number one in the country. They're ranked number two behind Michigan. But things like a road sweep in East Lansing against the then number one Spartans, just outstanding, outstanding stuff. Where last year they had one functional scoring line and one power play unit, it just seems like this team goes four deep now. Yeah, it has big time scores, but they're just guys that can beat you at every level of this team. And they've parlayed that into just an incredible first half, which continued today. It was a little closer than we thought it might be at the Badger showdown down in Milwaukee, but they did take Lake Superior State down 3-2, and they'll advance to the championship game. But just great stuff. So the resolution for the Badgers is reach another level. I think the conventional wisdom is keep things rolling. Do what you did in the first half. But I do think, if we're being honest with ourselves, for this team to be a national championship contender, they're going to have to be a little better. They're going to have to find another plane to play on. It's not going to be good enough to just be as good as they were in the first half. So I don't think it's business as usual. I think it's keep finding ways to improve. And given how many freshmen are playing, how many young guys, I think that's very possible with experience and buy-in for Wisconsin to have a similar, if not better, second half to the season. And who knows then? I mean, it's a crapshoot. They're not dominant like the women's team, but they are good, and they can play with anyone. Football. If you're with me, this might have been what you were waiting for. And there are a lot of ways you can go with this one. Obviously, a very disappointing first 3 seasons in the Fickle administration. The most recent being the most disappointing of the 3. But this is resolution for the football team for 2026 is a fundamental bedrock thing. And it may seem common sense like a couple of these other ones, but it is indubitably incredibly important. And that is finally, in year 4, forge an identity. You heard me right. That seems like football 101, doesn't it? Seems like the kind of thing you do the first spring here on campus in 2023. But here we are, approaching 2026. It has not happened. We saw signs of it in a few games last year, especially from in the front seven of the defense. We saw a certain level of play, type of play, identity with guys like Post and Catalano in that defensive front seven. But we need it for the whole team. We need it to be infused in the coaching staff. We need there to be the feeling that, because Wisconsin is not going to be one of the most talented teams in the Big Ten next year. I'm sorry, they're just not going to be. But the kind of team no one wants to play. Oh, damn, we got the Badgers on our schedule. That's not going to be fun, guys. I feel like last year and the year before, we were the team that everyone circled saying, there's a bye week. Okay. When you have an identity, and that identity, I think, should be that of a tough, hard-nosed, not 3 hours in a cloud of dust, but we're going to make you earn it, earn every inch you get in that game. Every yard is going to be fought for. Being a tough out, that should be the goal. And that's got to be an offensive line. That's got to be the defense, the secondary, the special teams, everything. Nothing easy. Because you're not the most talented team. That doesn't mean you can't fight and play hard and absolutely scrap for everything in that game. Find that identity, Luke. Find it. Embrace it. Make your team believe. Identify the leaders on this team. I think you got a few of them in mind, probably. And certainly that, statistically speaking, is going to be low because most of the guys on the team are transferring who haven't graduated. And get it done. This is their last shot. If this team does not have that identity this season, Luke Fickell will be looking for a different job, no matter how friendly Chris McIntosh is. And frankly, Chris McIntosh will probably be looking for that job too. That's how much is riding on the line. So damn it, dig down and find identity. Women's basketball, keep the momentum. Coach Robin has already elevated this program, the vibes, the talent, the coaching ability from the subpar place it was previous, and not even getting into untoward allegations against former coach. Just things weren't great. It was a clown show, and things look pretty good. I mean, we have a 1-0 in the Big Ten, a ranked win over Michigan State, 9-3. But the Big Ten is an incredibly difficult basketball conference, and things are only going to get real tough from here. So we want to keep that goodwill, those good vibes, and the momentum. And the New Year's resolution should be keep the momentum going. I don't think this is an NCAA tournament team, probably not this season, but it does not mean you can't have a successful campaign, because you absolutely can. These players look like they're really playing for it. They're fighting for their coach. And that's something we have not seen in a good long time. There are definitely other programs, and I could go on a long time here. I don't want to give short shrift to any other programs here, but I'm gonna wrap it up at that one right now, and would love to hear what y'all think, whether these resolutions I have proposed for these various Wisconsin sports teams are the right ones. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I'm looking at it with a angle that's a little off, but I think I pretty much got it down. Anyway, I want to say Happy New Year to all the Badgers out there. Thank you so much for your support of this show and for my platform. Really have fun doing it. And I think 2025 was our best year so far, and hope 26 is even better. I'm Wisconsin, and Scary Alvarez is out.